Herman, I'm very pleased to welcome you today here to be speaking to you in Brussels. Quares obviously operates in a number of different sectors. Explain to me a little bit more about the company and which areas you're involved in.
Okay, Quares is indeed a service company in the real estate business in Benelux area, where we focus on clients which are investors, private investors, but also institutional investors. We deliver to them investment funds where they can, as a diversification, go into the Belgian market via our funds we have been building over the last years. Private funds, also public funds, quoted funds. Another business line, and that's the reason why people want to invest through Quares vehicles, is that we are very keen on servicing tenants. We are very much in the field, in the buildings we manage, we property manage them, we facility manage them. We also do asset management, and we are in that business line in Belgium quite strong and proven track record. Indeed, we also do agency, but only residential markets, and that's local of course, in Antwerp, Mechelen and Sint-Niklaas. And it gives us also the insight on the residential markets in those local areas, together of course with the clients, which again are part of them investors, other of them are users, occupiers.
Okay, good. Which markets do you operate in, and I guess what are the growth prospects?
Belgium indeed is our starting point. We did start business in the Netherlands already 7 years ago. So we have a team in Amsterdam, mainly focusing on, again, servicing occupiers, tenants, for the time being mainly in the logistic and warehousing markets. We have clients like Montea in the Netherlands. And also now, very recently, we also decided to start up our local office in Luxembourg, a market which we serviced from distance until now. But again, we want to be local with the client occupiers and service them bottom up to give a profitable business, though for the occupier, but also for our client investors.
And in terms of the sectors, Herman, which sectors do you operate in? And I guess what's the outlook for those sectors?
I would say the red line in this, the main focus is the city centers. What Quares stands for today is the growth of the cities. Belgium, for instance, we have a demography which is showing growth figures, and we want to also support that growth by helping people who want to shop, who want to live, who want to have activities, who want to work there. The mobility, it's all key in that development. It's mixed projects where we fall, at this stage we have investments in retail, city center retail, and also housing, and mainly focus on student housing, which is a niche market, but again an answer to be given to the market where there is a shortage of quality housing.
And I understand as well that you're one of the few listed funds in Belgium. What kind of led to that decision?
That's correct. In fact, a very natural way of evolution of a company which we started business in with Quares Retail Fund now 8 years ago, where we built a small fund, private fund, unlisted, on retail, city center and also outside cities. It grew over all those years, and there came a moment that it was big enough to float. And people who were interested to stay into the fund could stay, people who want to trade could trade. And in fact, the next level of that private fund was the listing, which we did in December 2013 successfully. And that company is, I would say, growing on its own speed now, with a dedicated team under control of the authorities, with a more efficient way of trading the share, where an investor can decide himself now to get in or out of the fund.
What are the key areas where Quares adds value to the investment side, and how does that fit in with your company in terms of the structure of it?
Also very natural evolution is that the idea of sustainability, the CO2 emissions were a concern of us in the property management business very much, why we want to be the green property manager. Ultimately, now 3-4 years ago, we set up a team which was in first instance very much in collaboration with local governments with communes, cities, regional organizations from an authority point of view who wanted to develop business parks which responded to the European rules on sustainable business parks with energy savings, emission reductions, and there was also a subsidy way of trying to finance that. There was a model which was in place which was in fact proven to be ending after the subsidies were in fact used, but we bring in a model that was sustainable also in the financial way, that it was profitable in the long run for all stakeholders, the commune, the government, but also the private investors, developers, occupiers, who all take advantage of economies of scale in the purchasing and also the accounting, the energy accounting for the coming 30 years, where Quares will manage that for them on their behalf. It's a long-term property management job now for us, and in that business line we are unique and we are the only actor in Belgium.
In terms of the asset management side and the property management side, how important is data and transparency within that in terms of you making your strategic decisions?
Of course, it's about competences, but also very much about communication. And there is perception in the outside world about what we are doing, how we want to do, and we want to be, of course, very competent in what we do. But again, it's also a matter of communicating. And communication is also a concern for the one who gives the message, the one who receives the message. And again, we are living in a competitive world, and that must be cost efficient and must be complete, must be accurate. And that's also a reason why we want to also be ahead in the market of communication, transparency through, of course, it's about people, it's people's business, but again, we need to have efficient tools to support that efficiency, cost efficiency, to be competitive in a business we are operating in day to day.
Okay, and you selected Yardi obviously as your partner for that. What led to that decision, and how does that play into the strategy? Was the decision part of that?
Indeed, again, it's a natural process. We are a company relatively young. We started 9 years ago. We have been growing and using the tools which were available over the last 8 years, again at the price level that was achievable for us. And indeed, the next step for also our company for the next 9 years, so to say, we were looking for a cost-efficient tool, but mainly efficient in that challenge of transparency, communication. And after, I would say, we have been studying more than 1 year on the market of tools which were available in the world of efficiency, transparency, and also affordability, to be again in the market for the next 9 years as an innovator. Indeed, we want to be an example to our colleagues how we can be more efficient. And I always make the comparison with the car industry, where for the same money you get more every year. You buy a car for 10,000 euros 10 years ago, you get some quality. If you buy a car today of 10,000 euros, you get more quality. And that's what we want to achieve with property management, with facility management. And indeed, communication is key.
And in that sense, how does Yardi, I guess, help you achieve your business aims?
Indeed, it's competences, as I said, but also communication. And to be efficient in the communication, Yardi could deliver to us a platform that can cope with the future on the data collection, the data compilation, and also the data communication in an efficient way that is comprehensive for all team members within Quares. It's our finance team, it's our property management team, it is our help desk. All of them are part of that tool, so to say. And ultimately, the client, who is also very keen on having efficient communications, getting data offline, online, on his initiative, or just by push information, that this tool can also be linked to their systems, that ownership of data, which is also very important for our clients, it's easy to accomplish through Yardi.
And you mentioned the sort of 9-year plan in that sense. Where do you see that growth coming? What are your aims from? Is it in different sectors? Is it in different geographies? I noticed that you were redeveloping a football stadium here in Belgium. Is that a new thing for you?
Exactly. It's indeed, sorry to interrupt, but indeed it's another part of innovation where we have been the first team in Belgium from the real estate market to, without having an ownership of a portfolio of properties, to create funds with teaming up with investors, with existing landlords buying in for third parties portfolios, and then structuring that, making a bridge between the market of investors, I would say financial markets, but on the other hand occupiers who also have a goal of return on their occupation and cost efficiency. So that bridge brings us to the fund business, where we have been building that solutions for occupiers, solutions for investors. And then people approach us by saying, well, though, if you can do it for the retail market and you can do it for the student housing market, why can't you do it for our football stadium? So this know-how of real estate, know-how financial markets, efficient tools, the laws compared to offering financial products to the market, also that knowledge we have integrated in our teams brings us that many more solutions can be developed within this type of bridges. And indeed a football stadium is our actual challenge, to have indeed investors teaming up with a football team to fund the stadium, and that's very similar to public-private collaborations, which indeed we also have in the student housing, where we are working together with a university. They want to build a school, offering colleges, education. We do the facilities for the housing, and the funding we bring in, they can use to indeed reinvest in their core business, being education.
And one final question for you, Herman, is you're obviously capital raising for some of the funds. What's the kind of unique thing that you're bringing to investors who may be looking at those funds?
Well, indeed, we are innovative in new products, new business lines, like the business parks, where we bring in different parties together. It's more bringing together of people who have a goal: financial markets, occupier markets, private, public, and that's where Quares is in fact the oil to have it organized and smoothly structured, and that's why we will continue to grow. And it might be next an ESCO fund, or it can be a collaboration with a commune who wants to finance his new cultural environment in the city, which don't have the budgets from a public any longer, but are looking to find financing with it, local markets, local investors, in fact investors who don't have any return on their bank account any longer and are looking to returns for their investments. And real estate in Belgium still today is very interesting for private investors, but also institutional investors.
Great. Thank you very much, Herman, for sharing your views on both the market and also giving us an insight into Quares.
My pleasure. Thank you too.